Hello everyone!
Hello, hello!
I'm Tony.
And I'm Tali,
and we are the Lazy Book Lovers. This is a podcast for book lovers who procrastinate about reading and have never-ending to-be-read piles. Today we are discussing some ARC reads that Tali has in her upcoming...
to stop me procrastinating on reading.
So this is basically body doubling / accountability.
Yeah, so I'm going to go through my Netgalley, of which I have more books than I should have. So for those who don't know, Netgalley is a online place where you can you can request ARCs.
And ARC means Advanced Reader's Copy.
Yeah, and they also have Advanced Listener Copies at I don't know how to, ALC. Yeah. And I tend to go on late night requesting sprees.
And then they just sit there.
Yeah, I have
like
a
little hoard.
60 books that I need to read. Actually, some of them I have read, I just haven't reviewed them yet, so they're still on my list. But yeah, so I'm going to go through the upcoming ones. Mm-hmm. And then I will mention them today, and then in the upcoming months, you should hear me talk about them after I've read them.
So this is just basically 500 people holding you accountable.
Yeah, basically.
Well, there's 500 to 900 regular downloads happening per episode.
Hi, guys.
Hi, we're very excited you're here. Sorry we had to take a little wee break.
Oh, yeah, I was ill and Tony was having a much-deserved holiday.
Went to Tenerife again. It's lovely.
We didn't actually talk about that, did we? We were too busy talking about work and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine.
My holiday was nice.
Yeah. and next week we will hear all about some of the books she read.
Yeah, I read a lot. I was just lady in the sun and read things.
Like reading, yeah. So there is a bit of a theme with these books. They tend to be horror and or fantasy. Mm-hmm. Obviously.
It's because we are who we are.
Yeah, and that's what I tend
We'll
to
read other things if you request it. But until then, we're going to read what we feel like.
We do have the window open for a bit of fresh air, so deal with it. If you hear any noise.
It's just muggy in England. So I don't know if that's a word other countries have. It's just basically
humid.
Humid and the air is heavy and sticky. We call that muggy. I don't know why.
I took my son to the park yesterday, and when I got home, I was really sweaty.
Yeah,
just
from
this
layer
air
on your skin. Yeah. It's just
Okay, so let's start with a book called The Dark Place by Brittany S. Lewis. Now, a lot of these, I will admit, when I'm on my late night requesting sprees, I request them on the cover alone. Yeah. So some of these I don't actually really know what they're about.
We're going to go on adventures together.
So this is a horror YA, and it says, you can only hide from your nightmares for so long. 17-year-old Hayley Williams didn't ask to disappear. She didn't ask to move from Kansas City, Kansas, out to the suburbs in Missouri. Oh, Kansas City, Kansas. That's why, yeah. Out to the suburbs in Missouri. But she did disappear. And not only that, but when she vanished from our world, she materialised in a dark, twisted version of the night that changed her life forever, the night her older brother went missing. And the cover, it's got a woman, or a girl, I guess, 17-year-old, and she's got her lips are sewn up, and then there's flowers poking out.
Show me. Oh, that's creepy.
She looks really beautiful, but so creepy.
Like the big afro hair as well, like the curly hair and the blue background. It's lovely.
Yeah, so that is... I'm very excited to read that. That comes out in August. Oh wow, I really went on a horror requesting spree. So the next one is called Riding the Nightmare. It's by Lisa Tuttle. Oh, with Neil Gaiman as a contributor.
But it's a real nightmare theme going on. Have you been sleeping okay?
My daughter is going through the sleep regression.
Oh, okay. That's really... Usually it happens earlier than this, isn't it?
There's usually one around 4 or 5 months, and there's usually one around 8 to 10 months. So she's 10 months. She didn't have one at 4 to 5 months. She's been a very good sleeper. But the main issue with her regression is that I'm still in my son's 5.5-year regression. So
they need to sync up.
I'm not getting much sleep going on, is what I'm saying. Oh, and then the other night, for some reason, one of the cats, Charlie, decided he was just going to wake up all the kids as well.
Oh, no.
He was just like, suddenly my son woke up, I went in, Charlie was like climbing over him, like waking him up. And I was like, fuck's sake, Charlie, get out. Kicked him out the room, sorted my son out, got him back to sleep, and then baby started crying. And I was like, why is she awake? And Charlie's like climbing on her.
Oh my god.
I was like, what are you doing, Charlie?
Charlie just chose chaos.
It's literally 3 a.m. It's not breakfast time. What are you doing?
Well, because I've been doing so much relaxing. It means that my brain just is just like, well, we have nothing to think about. I'm just going to go fucking insane at night. So, like, I don't remember my dreams, but I know I dream a lot. I don't think they are good dreams because the person I'm dating had to keep waking me up to check I was okay.
Yeah.
So this is my theory that they're not good dreams. Like, usually apparently
they're vibrant dreams.
Apparently he just like strokes my arm and I'll go quiet again. So I'm like this
little pony.
Yeah. So but I don't remember what the dreams have been, but I then know they're incredibly vivid and I feel very sunk into them. Like really deep sleep. Which is usually what happens when I have relaxed a lot or got too much sleep. Which is like such like shouldn't be complaining about that really, but my brain, it happens every time I get too much sleep, my brain goes insane. And I get crazy fucking dreams that leave me very unsettled, but I don't remember them.
I'm still, like, not fully recovered from that virus either, which is really weird. So I had a stomach or rotavirus or something, stomach bug, I don't know. That was like 3 weeks.
No, 2 weeks, because we couldn't meet up before my holiday. No, it's 3 weeks nearly.
Yeah. And I'm still, like, exhausted from it. I don't know.
I told you, it took well over a month to get over the one I had in February. Like, it wiped me for a really long time.
I'm still having, like, daytime naps because it's just killing me. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, my one, I couldn't eat for, like, 4 days. But the actual, like, stomach virus part of it probably was the first 24 hours. And then for the preceding 4 days, I just couldn't eat, though.
Yeah, I had stomach virus, like, the actual
symptoms.
Yeah, being sick.
Polite symptoms.
For like 2 days. And then, yeah, I would say it was probably another 3 days before I did eat a little bit.
I was eating crackers, but I mean, like, a substantial meal.
Yeah, it was probably
my first meal, for some reason, I just craved McDonald's. And I was like, I didn't want any food, so like I ordered a McDonald's and Just Eat to me, and it was the first full meal I could eat in 4 days. It was the only thing I wanted to eat,
because the only thing I wanted to eat was fried chicken, and obviously I don't eat meat really, and that was all I wanted to eat. That was all I was craving the whole time.
Yeah.
So we ordered fried chicken, and I ate so much.
Because you're just, whatever you want to eat, you're just like, oh my god,
it's like a pregnancy craving at this point. I have to have fried chicken. Like, I've got a one-track mind.
I had to have McDonald's.
Yeah. Ah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
So,
anyway,
Riding the Nightmare by Lisa Tuttle with Neil Gaiman as a contributor.
It's going to be wacky if it's Neil Gaiman.
Yeah. I didn't realise until just now that he was a contributor, so there we go. Over a 50-year career, Lisa Tuttle has earned a reputation as one of the greatest modern authors of horror and weird fiction. That's funny, because I've never heard of her. Her most recent collection, The Dead Hours of Night, was a finalist for the Stoker Award, and now she is back with a collection of 12 unsettling tales, several of them never previously collated, including the long out of print and hard to find tale, The Dragon's Bride. Oh, so it's got an introduction by Neil Gaiman.
Oh, okay.
And I requested this because it had a creepy pony on the picture. It's not.
Oh, it's a demon pony.
Well, the pony itself isn't inherently creepy. It's just kind of how they've framed it. It looks creepy.
Yeah, it's got like red glowing.
It has got like demon eyes. Yeah.
And, like dripping down his face.
Yeah. Maybe she's not alive. I don't know. I will read it and find out.
Ghost pony.
Ghost pony. Right. So the next one is a YA horror.
Mm-hmm.
It's called I Fed Her to the Beast and the Beast is Me. I requested it for that title.
Yeah, that would have got me.
And this is by Jameson Shea. I didn't say when that other one was coming out, did I? It comes out at some point, probably.
Go look up yourselves. We can't do all the work.
It comes out. Hang on, I can just click it. It comes out the 22nd of August.
Okay. We'll do the work for you. I'd be grateful.
And then I fed her to the beast. Oh, no, I feed her to the beast. And The Beast Is Me comes out on the 29th of August. Okay, so this is by Jameson Shear. And there it says, There Will Be Blood. And this is Ace of Spades, which is on my TBR, meets House of Hollow, which is a book I was trying to remember a little while ago.
Right, okay.
In this villain origin story. Laurie Mesney is Laurie now.
Wait, we've got to do the name and disclaimer.
Yeah, because it's usually indie books.
The name and disclaimer? Name disclaimer?
Name and disclaimer. Let's keep it at that. Name and disclaimer.
Natalie can't do names, regardless of your origin. Whether you are Western, Eastern, wherever you're from, she can't do them.
It's the reason my name's spelled wrong.
None of the names are correct. It's just a thing.
Yeah, it's just part of my charm.
Yeah.
Laurie Mesney is a perfectionist with an axe to grind, despite being constantly overlooked in the elite and cutthroat world of the Parisian ballet. She will do anything to prove that a black girl can take centre stage. To level the playing field. Alright, calm down, plane. What is this? On a flight path?
Aggressive plane.
Is it literally coming into the house?
You know, when we first moved here when I was a kid, the plane noises used to terrify me. And I used to listen, and if there was like a pause in like the roary noise, I'd be like, that's it, plane's coming down.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, it's like, I didn't think I had anxiety, and then I look back on that and I'm like, I was literally staying awake thinking if I didn't stay awake and listen to the planes, one would 100% crash into our house.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe that was something.
Yeah, like we're not in a flight path where we are, so we just get very few, but we get a lot of like low flying private craft and helicopters. And when they're like making, not so much helicopters because they tend to, you know, make a solid noise because they will die. But when like planes come across and it goes quiet for a minute, I'm like,
that's it,
that's gone down, and I have to have a look for the flames. I'm like, where's it gone down?
I'm like, we're right in the flight path, like when a plane crashes, they're crashing on the house. And I was so convinced when I was a kid. Context also, my parents really liked air crash investigations as a TV show.
Might not be related.
I might have issues with flying to this day. Who knows?
Little Miss goes on holiday all
goes
the time.
on holiday all the time. And I was like, I'm not a good flyer though.
No.
Like, well, I don't like takeoff and landing.
I think like sometimes you can just put it aside because the holiday's going to be worth it. Like it's a means to an end.
Well, I don't know. Was there some statistic on one of these shows that like 90% of crashes happen in the first 2 minutes and the last 2 minutes of the flight? So once we're up at cruising, I can relax.
I just always remind myself, because I used to be quite a bad flyer, because I didn't fly until I was like 22 or something like that. I always remind myself, when I start getting panicky, I always remind myself I'm more likely to die in a car and I don't get scared in the car.
That's what I was saying too.
It's fine.
My boyfriend hasn't been on many holidays and is also not a little bit nervous at flying. And that's what I sort of said, like, you just have to remember you're more likely to die in a car than you are in a plane.
So just be scared of cars.
I was like, also, the time... Oh my god. Please don't make us shut the window, it's so warm. When I was flying from Thailand to Krabi Island, I was like... I have to remember that that was during an electrical storm. So there was one across the city, and we took off, and it wasn't in our half of the city, because like there can be very concentrated storm clouds in these tropical places. And I remember being like in the plane looking, and I'm like, and we're in the middle, I can see we're in level with the middle of the cloud, so then I'm seeing lightning go through the cloud, and I'm like, that's interesting, I should take a picture now.
I'm just gonna close this blind.
It was like genuinely like we're in clear sky, and then apocalypse is happening over there, and it was like proper tropical storm over there, and I was like, okay. And then we land in Krabi. We land during a storm, an electrical storm in Krabi, and it was terrifying. And they had a false landing. They did the one bump, took back off.
Oh no!
And then they were like, it's not safe to land. And then they circled Krabi Island 3-4 times. I don't know. It went on for an hour. We were flying through a storm for an hour in a fucking circle, and it felt like a circle. The Russian couple next to me slept through the whole thing.
I bet you wish you were them.
They just slept.
Yeah.
And then, like, we finally landed, and it was a really horrible landing as well. And then we finally landed, and then the Russian guy woke up, and he just looked at me, and I'm, like, fucking crying.
Yeah. Like,
I've been having a panic attack in this
Yeah.
corner while him and his wife just slept, and he woke up, and he just looked at me, and he went, "Is good?" I was like, no, it's not good. We nearly died, and you just slept through it.
I mean, what a great way to go.
Like, the plane did that thing where the turbulence is so bad that it drops a few metres. And I was like, I have to remind myself, if it can survive flying through a full-on fucking electrical storm, then a few clouds, which are causing the turbulence we're feeling, is like, fine. There was, like, high winds, so the landing was a bit like, we're going to have to shut the window. Professional podcasting, guys. We might have to give in. Our editor's screaming at us right now.
To level the playing field. Laurie ventures deep into the depths of the catacombs and strikes a deal with a pulsating river of blood.
Fuck.
The primordial power Laurie gains promises influence and adoration, everything she's dreamed of and worked towards. With retribution on her mind, she surpasses her bitter and privileged peers, leaving broken bodies behind her on her climb to stardom. And it's got a picture of, like, a woman's face in a river of blood.
Oh my god.
How cool does that be?
Oh my god, yeah. That's really cool.
If, like, this one and that first one I read out, this one and The Dark Place with the Lady with the Flowers, if they're good books, I will want copies of them because they look
those covers
so
are
good.
amazing.
Right, next one that was also from my horror rampage is called Downpour. Just trying to find the release date, published date. It's called Downpour by Christopher Hawkins. It comes out on the 3rd of October. And this is a horror mystery thriller, apparently. So, a sudden storm appears above an isolated farmhouse in rural Illinois, bringing with it a relentless and unnatural rain. A rain that eats away at everything it touches. A rain that turns people into monsters. Trapped inside his crumbling home, a father must do everything he can to keep his family from falling apart, but the rain calls to them and not everyone wants to stay inside. And it's got, like, it's like someone's taken a picture of, like, a corner of a house. It's got, like, the wallpaper with some family portraits hanging, and then it's cracking.
Okay.
Like the walls cracking kind of thing.
But it looks like a creepy tree as well.
Like the crack. Yeah.
The crack looks like a creepy tree. Portraits are creepy. Ooh.
Creepy! I said crack a lot just then as well. Next one. Oh, and I was sent a physical arc of this, and I am so excited. And I have the digital one on Netgalley Bookshops and Bone Dust. The prequel to Legends and Lattes.
Right, that's where I've heard of that. Okay. Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah. Let me just check when it comes out. I think it's October.
I think I have that in a wish list somewhere.
November, 9th of November it comes out. So this is the prequel to Legends and Lattes, which me and Tony have both gushed about on this podcast many times.
It's a very swift change in genre. From horror to cozy fantasy.
And it's by Travis Baldry. So this follows the main character from Legends and Lattes, Viv. So Viv's career with the renowned mercenary company Rackham's Ravens isn't going as planned. Wounded during the hunt for a powerful necromancer, she's packed off against her will to recuperate in a sleepy beach town of Merc. So far from the action that she worries she'll never be able to return to it again. What's a thwarted soldier of fortune to do? Spending her hours at a struggling bookshop in the company of its foul-mouthed proprietor is the last thing Viv would have predicted. even though it may be exactly what she needs. Still, adventure isn't far away. A suspicious traveller in grey, a gnome with a chip on her shoulder, a summer fling, and an improbable number of skeletons prove Merc is about to be more eventful than Viv could have ever expected. So I've seen some people review this. Everyone's like enjoyed the cozy fantasy vibe, but it has got a romance in it.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, it's kind of not. It's kind of disappointing because you already know.
Yeah, who should...
Like, you know then that Viv and this person are not weird together because they're not together in the next one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so it sounds cute. And I was so excited to have a arc arrive.
I know, I can't believe you've got an arc of this. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm a bit jealous.
Because you apply for them and then you almost never get told if you got them.
Yeah.
They just appear sometimes.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. I applied for loads of different arcs. And
I've been thinking about doing this, getting into whole.
there's no reason that you shouldn't have by now.
Yeah, I know, it's like my next stage of book nerddom.
I tagged you in that thing for using the code Storygraph with Libra FM. So I use this audio book subscription called Libra FM, but I never used it as a subscription because until now it was US based only. They've now expanded to the UK. So if you use Storygraph when you set up an account, you get a free credit. It's like $9.99 a month, pounds.
So you get like, basically you buy one credit, get one free for that first month, is how they phrase it in the comments.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. But they also have a influencer thing, which is how I use them because I couldn't buy audiobooks. Yeah. So you could sign up for the influencer thing maybe as well. But yeah, so maybe check that out. If you're wanting to stray away from Amazon.
It's subscribed as well.
Yeah, subscribed. Yeah,
on Amazon.
Please do use the link in my bio so I get 3 months as well.
Oh yeah, do
you get
I
2
still
months
need to set
and
up
I
mine.
get. Yeah, if you use my link, I will put it in the Lazy Book Lovers link our bio thing as well. If you use my link, you get 2 months for free, and I get 1 month for free. So it's worth doing.
Yeah, I still need to do that.
On an unrelated but very related note, there's been a lot of discussion on the side of Book Talk I'm on about cozy fantasy, because obviously it's a new genre.
Yeah.
And everyone's kind of discussing what creates cozy fantasy, blah 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 blah. Because some people say for it to be cozy fantasy there can't be smut, but I think it's more a vibe of cozy fantasy.
Yeah.
And everyone's saying it's like low stakes or whatever. But people have been saying that, rightly pointing out that a lot of cozy fantasy also kind of has like negative things in it as well. So, for instance, one of the big cozy fantasy books is The House of Cerulean Sea, which I've discussed before, by TJ. Oh gosh, Clune, thank you. Go listen to our previous episode where we talk about that in detail. But someone pointed out the Legends and Lattes book, and the person who was discussing it said they're a huge fan of the book, but they were like, you can't. It doesn't take away from the book, but they were pointing out that it's very based on colonisation, because Viv takes the coffee from another group of people. She takes it from the goblins, and then
takes their technology,
and turns it into something for her. And that actually happened in real life. Like, Western colonisers took coffee and then created a thing of it. And I was saying that is just a staple in a lot of cozy fantasies. Like, no one was saying it's a negative thing, but they were just saying, just it's interesting that a lot of cozy fantasies do seem to have these elements that.
I don't know, at no point does Viv try to claim that she invented coffee, or that she's always like, oh, this is goblin made, this is a goblin thing that I tried from a goblin city.
Yeah,
she's paying the goblins to get that stuff as well. Like, her coffee comes from goblin makers of coffee, and so does her machine, and she's very open about that fact when anyone asks.
But it is still very reflective of
that.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was just really interesting. Like, I've been watching a lot of conversations about it, and I just thought it was quite interesting. But yeah, a lot of people say for it to be cozy fantasy, it can't have smart. Or no, they use the ridiculous term clean. It has to be clean, which is ridiculous because it implies that sex is dirty, which it is not. Get your Christian bullshit out of my life. Right. Next one. We're just going to flippity-flop in genre a little bit. We're still fantasy, but we're doing historical fantasy.
Okay.
Ooh. So this is called Nephra.
Show me. Oh, yeah. Nephra? Yeah, I think. Yeah,
I will look up how to pronounce it properly when I talk about a review of it. This is by Milana Evans. And let me just double check when this comes out. I am trying to do them in publication order, so it will be after. So this is due to be published on the 13th of February next year.
Oh, okay.
We're into 2000. Oh my god,
that's crazy.
We're actually in the second half of this year.
Time isn't real.
Mm-hmm. So, for readers of The Wolf Den, which I've not heard of, and Kaikai, which I do really want to read because I've only heard good things, comes the thrilling tale of the forgotten daughter of the legendary Egyptian pharaoh and a path she must take to escape her own dangerous fate. There are many paths to power, and they all come with a price. Nefaru? Wait, how did I think it might be pronounced? Nefaru? Nefara. I will look it up. Princess and High Priestess of Hemet knows her duty is to her people. When your mother is the great pharaoh, it is hard to forget. But her unique position at court comes with high risks for her country, especially when she's forced to serve her vile half-brother, a man determined to stop her potential rise. Peace, it seems, never lasts for women who wield power in the open, especially when they cross a vengeful man. That sounds awesome. Next one is the second in the the Glacian trilogy.
What, the
Chasm?
Stacey McGowan. Oh, yeah. Exciting!
Oh, I bought a copy of Ledge, so I need to read that.
It's in my I've done a little
your next
10. Yeah. I mean, I didn't finish the 10 we put together in that episode because I didn't feel like it.
Fair enough.
But I've been new 10, and she's on my new 10.
Yeah, I really want to read this. So the second one comes out 12th of September, so we're not entirely into it. I don't... Because it's a sequel, and neither of us have read Ledge, I don't really want to go into... I'll tell you what Ledge is about.
Yeah, do Ledge, but no, this is the second book.
So this is by Stacey McEwen, who you should also follow on TikTok, because she's funny. Hilarious.
She's funny on Instagram as well. She does a lot of stories.
Oh, yeah. I've recently followed her on Instagram. In a place known as the Ledge, a civilization is trapped by a vast chasm and sheer mountain face. There is no way for anyone to escape the frozen wasteland without befalling a deathly drop. And they know nothing of the outside world except that it is where the Glacians reside. Mystical and vicious winged creatures who bring meagre rations in exchange for a periodic human sacrifice. Dawson, an axe wielder and only remaining member of her family, has so far avoided the annual culling, but her luck has run out. She is chosen and ripped from her icy home, the only world she knows. No one knows what will happen to her on the other side, least of all Dawson. Murdered, enslaved, worse. A slow burn romance, high stakes and even higher rewards. That sounds
I know from her TikToks that someone gets killed off because she did that TikTok where she was crying when writing it.
Yeah, when she wrote it.
So I'm like, okay, I feel like she's going to break our hearts.
Yeah.
I don't know, just from her TikToks I trust her writing.
Yeah,
like implicitly.
Oh, baby's going to sleep finally.
This is a text from her partner who's taking care of her children.
Yeah. Baby was due a nap at 11 o'clock and it is 12:30.
Still success.
Yeah, I'm starting to put her on a bit of a sleep schedule because I feel like she will be receptive to it, unlike my son who is yet to still sleep. But we love him. I'm not saying it's a negative thing, it's just a fact. He doesn't want to sleep.
It's just the way he's wired, always has been.
Yeah, it's very much, the more I've looked into it, ADHD, sleep, they're not friends.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I could, well, undiagnosed, but I could tell you.
Yeah, and my partner has always had insomnia, and luckily his ADHD tablets, he also has So he has ADHD tablets, whatever they do, whatever they are. And then he also has sleeping tablets. Yeah.
I think it's a lot of because society's the way, the daily shift of society, the way it operates, is not the way ADHD people are wired.
It's not the way our bodies work anyway.
No.
We shouldn't sleep for that long in one go. We only move that way for industry, like industrial.
Yeah, because farmers used to like go to bed, sleep for a bit, get up, do some things, and then go back to bed.
Yeah. Well, it's not normal for us to be awake as long as we are and then to sleep for as long as we do. It was capitalism and the patriarchy. But
then also, like, typically you have what's called delayed sleep phase, which is where you are naturally, your body clock is more natural for you to go to bed at 2 a.m. and get up about 10 than it is to go to bed before 12 and get up fucking early.
Yeah, and like teenagers, their clock works entirely different. And like for me, before I had children, I mean, it's still probably true, but I haven't been able to do it. I need a minimum of 10 hours.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, until I had children, I couldn't work on 8 hours. Like, it just wasn't enough for me.
Whereas I kind of worked out my minimum to be a functional person, I needed like 6 to be happy, 5 I can deal with. I can live on 5. 6 to be like a happy, normal person. But if I go above 8 too often, I get the horrible consequences, like the weird nightmares. Not since I've been back at work, so obviously that's gone. But yeah, so I don't know. For me, I have to keep it between, to feel good, between 6 and 8. It has to stay within that region.
Yeah. Now, my ideal is if I can get 2 hours in one go, I can function.
Bar is low.
Yeah, the bar is low. So, the next one, I was so excited to get approved for this, and I cannot wait to pick it up. It comes out on the 19th of September, and it's called Never Whistle at Night, and it's an Indigenous dark fiction anthology by Shane Hawke and Theodore C. Van Oust Jr. Apologies entirely. So I have another anthology by Shane Hawke, which I haven't read yet.
Okay.
I'm saving them. I'm going to do them both together at spooky season. But yeah, because I'm trying to find more Indigenous books, because I really enjoy them when I read them, and I realise I haven't picked up much recently. So I've been trying to collect a lot of Indigenous books so I can do like spooky and just read lots. Because they tend to inherently be quite spooky, just in general. So yeah, this is a bold, clever and sublimely sinister collection of horror, fantasy, science fiction and gritty crime by both new and established Indigenous authors that dares to ask the question, are you ready to be unsettled? Many Indigenous people know that one should never whistle at night. This belief ranges far and wide and takes many forms. For instance, native Hawaiians believe it summons the Hakupo, the spirits of ancient warriors, and native Mexicans say it calls a lechuza, a witcher that can transform into an owl and snatch the foolish whistlers in the dark. But what all these legends hold in common is the certainty that whistling at night can cause evil spirits to appear and even follow you home. I was explaining...
Oh, it's giving me goosebumps then.
I was explaining to my partner about the Whistling Man, and he has no clue what I'm talking about. I don't think he is as into creepypastas as I am. But it's really funny because, like, our neighbour always comes to my partner for tech help.
Yeah.
He's like, you're really good at computers and stuff. And my partner's like, no, I'm not at all. And he's like, yeah, you've got that big computing setup. And my partner's like, yeah, for gaming. I know about gaming. Like, I don't know. And like, whenever our neighbour comes around, Nick's my partner, or Nick, is fine.
I think we've said his name loads of times.
Nick's always like, let me go and ask Natalie. So I'm very much more in the internet culture than he is as well. Like, he literally... He refuses to have anything but Facebook, and he's not a boomer, so I don't understand.
Yeah. He doesn't know a lot of internet references, does he?
So I was talking to him about the Whistling Man, and I was like, you know about the Whistling Man, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And I just started talking to him about the Whistling Man on the assumption that he knew what I was talking about. And then he was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. So I explained the Whistling Man. For anyone that's not too sure, like, if you hear there's a whistling man, and if you hear whistling like around your house and stuff, you shouldn't acknowledge it, because if you acknowledge it, you like, I don't know, invite him in or whatever. And then like 2 days later, I heard whistling in the house. Well, it was like outside, and I was like, Nick, are you whistling? And he was like, I don't think I was, but maybe. And I was like, no, I need you to know, were you whistling or were you not?
I just summoned him.
You need to
by
know.
talking about him.
But yeah, so
I was watching, so there's a TikToker talking about she's born and raised in the Appalachians.
I love anything to do with that place.
And
it's so fucked up.
Like she was like, these are just facts that all Appalachian kids like grow up knowing. Like, if someone calls your name in the woods, don't turn around.
You just don't acknowledge it.
If you see people moving in the tree line, don't acknowledge it. She's like, we all just know this is fact. I've just got a load of goosebumps doing that. Oh my god. But she was like,
I'd be so scared.
But I've seen too many Appalachian TikTokers say these things for me to be like, what's going on in the Appalachians? There's a huge wild area. There could be shit going on there we don't know about.
Yeah, there's definitely some sort of like,
because it's too wild for people to generally.
There's some like ancient godlike things there, 100%. And there's a lady who lives in Appalachia, and she has a TikTok, and she is being like stalked by, it's like the outline of her husband facing away from her. So when she does videos, you often see her husband far in the background facing away from her, but it's not her husband.
Oh my god, that's so creepy.
Because she will turn the phone and her husband's next to her.
Oh my
and sometimes
god.
she doesn't see it till she's editing, and she's like, there he is again. There he fucking is again in the trees or whatever.
One of them was talking about like you hear scratching at the door, and they just go and lock everything up and sage the house.
Yeah. And
it's just like standard. I was like, she's just like, oh dad, it's happening again.
Yeah. And
they all just accept it, and like it's just normal.
Yeah, and like
you don't walk in the woods at night.
That's where like the skinwalkers are and stuff,
yeah.
and just I was trying to explain skinwalkers to my mother-in-law, and she couldn't understand why. I was like, it's really scary, and she's like, I don't understand what you're talking about. It's like, whatever, just you'll get eaten, but fine.
I just think if so many of these things have gone into folklore and it's been passed down through the generations, there's got to be a reason.
Exactly.
There's got to be a reason.
Yeah.
Even if they are just like safety survival tips that turn into scary stories, like don't go in the woods at night.
Fine.
Still,
100%.
Don't fuck with it.
In a completely different note, I requested and got approved for the third book in the, I think it's called the Sheets series, but I haven't actually read the first two. So then I requested the first two and I got approved for them. So I've got the 3 to read. So the third book comes out. In September.
Okay.
Now this is a graphic novel series, and it's a really cute one. It's a YA graphic novel series. The first one's called Sheets, and it's written by Brenna Fumler, and it's about a ghost in a laundrette. So the picture is the ghost in the washer, just like,
but it's like a little like sheet ghost.
Yeah. Marjorie Glatt feels like a ghost, a practical 13-year-old in charge of the family laundry business. Her daily routine features unforgiving customers, unbearable PE classes, and the fastidious Mr. Saubertuck, who is committed to destroying everything she's worked for. Wendell is a ghost, a boy who has lost his life much too young, whose daily routine features ineffective death therapy, a sheet-dependent identity, and a dangerous need to seek purpose in the forbidden human world. When their worlds collide, Marjorie is confronted by unexplainable disasters as Wendell transforms Glatt's laundry into his midnight playground, appearing as a mere sheet during the day. And it's like a little series about them. It's apparently quite emotional. The second one's called Delicates, and it's a picture of Wendell as a sheet ghost in a camera, like someone's got like a old school camera, not an old school, like a DSLR camera. Yeah. And Wendell's just hanging out in the thing. And then the one that comes out in September called Lights is Wendell just, I don't know, on a picture or something. But yeah, they just look so cute. And I can't wait to read it. They're like 300 pages each. So.
Oh my god, that would be great. That looks so cute.
I know.
I want it.
I want a window. Okay, the next one.
Alright,
This is exciting.
Okay.
This is exciting. It comes out on the 14th of September. I'm on the street team for this.
Okay.
Every Exquisite Thing by Laura Stephen. You tagged me in it, and I was like, it's already on my radar.
Okay.
The sapphic retelling of Dorian Gray.
Yes. I remember this now.
Yeah, so I'm on the street team for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have like weekly challenges until it comes out, and I'm so excited. So this is by Laura Stephen, who you may know from the Society of Soulless Girls. You may have seen that. That was quite big on TikTok. She's a TikTok author. I met her as well at Comic-Con.
Did you?
Yeah,
Oh,
she's
exciting.
really lovely. So this is a feminist YA horror thriller retelling of The Picture of Dorian Gray. And that was all I needed to hear, basically.
Dorian Gray was already pretty
Dorian
gay.
Gay.
Dorian Gay.
Yeah.
It was already pretty gay to begin with, so I think this is Sapphic would be so good.
I'm so excited. A Syrian exploration of beauty, identity, and what the pursuit of perfection costs young women. So,
this gonna make you cry.
this is all I needed to know.
That gonna make you cry,
It's
though.
gonna make me cry,
Yeah.
and I can't wait. I'm ready, Laura. Make me weep. I am here for it.
That needs to be the title, I think. Laura make me
Make
weep.
me weep, and then I'm going to tell her. You can have that as a review. I haven't even seen it yet, but you can have that as a review.
This is the preview.
Make me weep. So I'm really excited. I'm going to be picking it up like ASAP. I have a few books I have to review this week, like pre-agreed, and then that's my next read. The next one is a book that I'm on the tour for in October. It comes out on the 19th of September. Well, no, sorry, scratch that. It's already out in French. The translation, the English version, comes out in October. No, in September, and I'm involved in the tour in October.
Okay.
It's called The Court of Shadows by Victor Dixon, and it's the first in a, I'm going to say trilogy. It's first in a series. So this is a historical fantasy featuring vampires. So
yes.
Yeah. When they pitched it to me, I was like, yeah, say less. A fiery heroine seeks vengeance against a royal court of deadly vampires in his epic alternate history set in lavish Versailles.
Versailles?
Yeah, thank you.
So France.
Yeah. Louis XIV transformed
the Sun King
from the Sun King into the Kingdom of Shadows when he embraced immortality and became the world's first vampire. For the last 3 centuries, he has been ruling the kingdom from the decadent Court of Shadows in
Versailles.
Thank you. Demanding the blood of his subjects to sate his nobles first and maintain their loyalty.
Cool. Oh, that means the setting is all going to be the Palace of Versailles.
Yeah.
Which is like beautiful, by the way. But when you walk around there, you're like, I can understand.
Have you been there?
I've been twice.
Oh.
But when you walk around there, it's so lavish that you're like, I can kind of see why the French people revolted. So, like, you can see it all from the gates, and that's what they would have seen back in the day as well. It's all from the gates. You can just see this, like, ornate, beautiful palace. But when you go inside, everything's gold gilded. Like, there's chandeliers. There's the Hall of Mirrors.
Unnecessary.
So he made like a dance hall that's like lined on mirrors, like all on one side, glass on the other, which would back then would have cost a fortune.
Yeah.
Beautiful chandeliers. I mean, it's beautiful. It's less beautiful when you find out there's no toilets and they used to just shit in corners as aristocracy. It was like very normal to shit and pee in corners, and the servants would just clean it up.
Yeah, of course.
So you're like, I'm like, I didn't know that when I visited, but now I'd be like looking, like, where's the evidence?
Where's the shit stain?
And it used to be like, yeah, lots of very bored rich people used to just hang around and get drunk and high in Versailles.
That is too good.
And like the grounds are beautiful as well. And then Marie Antoinette's little separate house because, a whole palace is not enough. She built a house on the grounds that takes 20 minutes to walk to.
Is she the one that had like a cosplay town made for them, her and her friends, to pretend they were poor?
I don't think she's the one that the whole let them eat cake misquote is attributed to.
I feel like
and she was married to Louis whatever, and they had 2 kids. They all were killed in the French Revolt.
I feel like I saw a TikTok about her, like she had a little like village, and when Marie Antoinette pretended to be a milkmaid.
She was basically this very naive.
Well, wasn't
Dutch
she like
girl
14 or something?
Sold, to the French crown at like 14. Her and Louis didn't have kids because no one explained to them how to have kids. So they thought they were making babies, and it turns out they just didn't know what they were doing. And after they had it explained to them, then we had royal heirs appear, which is fucking hilarious. And she was just a child who was a queen.
Yeah.
And like much
what
of
do you expect from
much of the grounds can be attributed to her. Like she planted a lot of the trees in the walkways and the gardens, but it also cost a fortune because she had fully grown trees transplanted and imported,
and she wouldn't have understood the value of money or anything.
No.
So she spent an exorbitant amount of money building what she believed was the ideal picturesque French farm, where she and a select few of her companions would spend their days dressed as milkmaids and shepherdesses, pretending they were simple peasant girls.
Do you know what I mean? It's just play.
Yeah,
it's play,
and everyone
but
bullies her about it. Like now, everyone's like, "Oh, she was such a dick." It's like she was a child.
She was literally a child.
She couldn't go on TikTok and learn about other people's lives.
Given the fortune of like an entire country, like even there's lots of evidence.
Imagine having a village built though, just to play.
Yeah,
how wealthy of you.
Louis, because he became king at like 14 as well. So there's a lot of the poor decisions about taxation and whatever that led to the revolt were not his decisions, or were his decisions, but he was a feckin' child. Raised in a golden palace, like
literally.
But I think that make for a very good vampire fiction.
Yeah.
That setting, if they set it in the palace.
I assume it is, yeah. Well, I will let you know in a couple of months.
Because it's like, by train, it's about like 40 minutes to an hour outside of Paris. So by horse-drawn carriage, surely that would take them hours to get to Paris.
For their vampire needs. And the last one I'm going to talk about comes out in, I'm going to say September, 15th of August. The Witch is Back by Sophie H. Morgan. So this is a romance, because I am reading a lot of romance recently.
Yeah, what? I mean, I enjoy it.
Born a Witch, Emmeline, yeah, I think it's that. Blue Water's days of trying to fit in are over. They ended 7 years ago when the man she'd hoped to marry left town without a word. She's much happier now, living a human life and running her own cocktail bar. Until Bastian True Note, what is with these surnames, walks through the door and announces that he wants her back. Bastian had his reasons for leaving Emma, even if he can't tell her what they are. But now a curse in his family dictates he must marry her. Yet Emma is not the meek witch he remembers, and not easily won over. Magical contracts are not easily broken, but they do become even more complicated when you fall in love. So yeah, that sounds fun.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I'm all about the romance recently.
Why the fuck not?
So yeah, they are some of the upcoming that I have been approved for that I need to read. There is approximately like 50 additional to that have already come out that I'm late on reading and reviewing, but we're just going to ignore that.
We're not going to talk about that. We're not even going to tell you about them.
We will get to them we will get to them when we get to them. They're already late. What does it matter?
It's so funny when at the end of it, someone like, one of my friends who've listened to the podcast recommended a book for me to tell you about, and I'm like, I will pass it on. Natalie will read it eventually. When is a different question. I'll come back to you in like 2 years.
Yeah, so I've really realised I have been reading a lot of books for like tours and
Yeah.
stuff that I've agreed to. And then there's books that I really want to get to that I've just not been getting to. So I think once I've got this month and last month, I had a lot of tours going on.
Yeah.
So I've already decided in August I think I've only got like 3 tours. So there's only like 3 mandatory books. And then I'm just going to let myself pick up the books I want to pick up.
Yeah.
So I really want to read Ledge. I really want to read You're Not Gonna Die Here Tonight by Kaylin. Can't remember. It's the same author of Cinderella's Not Dead.
Okay.
And I really want to read the Heaven's Official Blessings.
Oh, I thought
you
we'd read that already.
No.
No, okay.
I really want to read it.
Yeah, I thought that was on your immediate list.
Yeah, it is. But because I've had ones I've agreed that I need to review. And the Every Exquisite Thing is obviously top of my list. So I think they're the ones that I'm going to prioritise once I've got these. I've got 3 more reviews this month, and then...
Well, we're heading into a lot of books come out in September, don't they? We found that before, like September and December is like big book time.
Yeah, which
Obviously,
makes sense, like marketing-wise.
So it's around the academic year / Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they're the ones that I want to get to soon. So hopefully you should hear about all of these
eventually
in what I've been reading. Hopefully this year. I'm going to say this year for the ones I've just mentioned.
All right. I believe in
2023.
Maybe we should do in our end of year wrap up.
Yeah,
should find this list and see how many you read.
Yes, let's do that. Hold me accountable. So yeah, let me know if any of these are on your radar, if you've read any of these, or if you now want to read any of them. Let me know. Please follow and rate us on wherever you listen to your podcast, and in particular on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Leave us a written review, because if you have words with your rating, it really boosts us in the algorithm, I recently found.
Oh, that's cool.
So we don't care what you write. You can just literally write down your most current read, and I will love that, because it will still help us in the algorithm. Please consider doing that.
We'll be interested. We want to know what you're reading.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. We would love that very much. And also, please follow us on our socials. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. But most importantly, please rate us and leave a review. Yep,
it is making a difference. Like, some of you have clearly been doing it. I can see it in our analytics.
Yeah, thank you.
Our analytics are steadily creeping up there, and it's very exciting.
Yeah. We're reaching a point where we feel comfortable to try and reach out to sponsors, so...
Yeah, and then, so that's like thanks to whoever you are listening.
Yeah. That
we could potentially start to earn money from this.
And that would be wonderful.
And it's been like a bit of a passion project for a couple of years, but it would be really cool if we could earn a little side hustle money.
Yeah, like we really want to be able to like upgrade our equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And then that would mean that it would sound better for you guys as
if you have
well.
issues with the sound, go and rate us.
Yeah.
So that we can say to people like, look... We're really good.
Yeah.
Give us money.
And then we can buy better mics. So yeah, we will see you next week for what Tony's been reading recently. And maybe me.
What, have you read much?
I probably have. I can't remember.
You always say this when you haven't read much, and you always have read more than me, without fail.
I've not updated my Storygraph, so I really cannot tell you.
Oh, it's all gone. Pete tongue. That's a very British phrase. Yeah. I don't even know how to translate that.
I don't know what...
Is that Cockney rhyming saying pink tongue? Because it means wrong. Yeah.
I don't know what I last updated, but yeah, I've got a couple. We'll
figure it out before we go and record the next one.
Okay, speak to you next week. Bye guys!